What every woman who is struggling to exercise and move more and feeling the impact of aging needs to know. This is today's topic. And the first thing that you need to know is, drum roll please, you are not alone. In fact, 86% of us do not get the right amount of exercise and movement. So firstly, congratulations to the 14% who are actually getting the right amount of physical activity in their daily life. But for those of you who are struggling, we're going to have a wonderful conversation about that today. So the first thing that I'm going to delve into, though, is what is deemed to be, the minimum or the right amount of physical activity. So the first thing is it's about 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate intensity exercise, and it's 1.25 to 2.5 hours of vigorous or high intensity exercise, whatever you want to call it, or some type of combination of those two things. And then the other recommendation is that it should include at least 2 muscle strengthening physical activities each and every week. So what do you think about that, Sel?
Agree 100%. Oh, sorry.
All right. So,
because as women, we are the most busiest in our households. Sorry, I just want to add in, as women, we are the most busiest in our households. And a lot of our household demands rely on our strength.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. And, it is that one critical component that I think a lot of us miss out on. We'll go and do the walk thing, but we don't do the strength thing. So, or we'll do the yoga thing, or we'll do, the Pilates thing. And I have noticed that a lot more Pilates sessions are now actually adding in weight style work as well too, which is taking it away from, the original concept of Pilates as well too. But, the lack of exercise, regardless of what type of exercise or movement, it's going to catch up with all of us at some point or other. And so what I want to do is talk about those some points, those things that we start to notice and experience. But what I wanted to do is just actually start with awareness and acknowledgement. I think this is a super critical part of it. And it's really, really important that we actually hone in and be more aware of what is happening in our bodies, in our minds, and how we are feeling and experiencing different things. So I want to talk about the what and the when, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more as we unravel today. So firstly, I'm going to start with me being 40. So I'm in my 40s and I can't keep my eyes open in the middle of the afternoon. I'm having nana naps in my 40s and I'm going, oh my goodness, what is going on with me? This is not right. So after some research, what I discovered was it was menopause for me. So I had a bit of a health issue anyway. And so I've got into menopause, and that's what was causing me to feel tired. Now, as someone who had been like really, really physically active, never exercising, so I've never been an exerciser, but I was someone who was always busy, always doing things. And so this was a real shock to my system. So with that research, I discovered that I did need to exercise, in particular, do strength training. And that is what I started. And from there, I've gone on to get my qualifications, as you know, and then, the rest is history, as they say. But what I've noticed personally about myself, is when I rolled into my 50s, I experienced something different. When I rolled into my 60s, I'm then starting to experience something different. So that acknowledgement, that awareness of what is different is really, really, really important for all of us. And I think it is the one thing that we do need to know, is to get into that awareness zone. All right. So I actually love asking our ladies questions, and I had to write down what they said. Okay. So Mickey, I love Mickey's response. So she noticed niggles in her joints, right? And so that's an interesting thing. Was it an ache? Was it a grind? Just what was it? So she was noticing something different happening. And so the wonderful thing is that I had met Mickey at a business retreat, and she reached out, and she started working out with us. She got stronger. She felt fantastic. And she was loving, getting into that 61 age category. But then what's happened is that she has then had this middle ear thingy that has really thrown her off balance, and she has not been able to actually work out because there have been, compounding other areas that have happened associated with that. And so she now is in a position where she's got that under control, and she's back to it, and she's starting to rebuild that strength, that fitness that she had. But then I was thinking about Elise as well too, Sal. So as you know, Elise is 71, and she actually, when she turned 50, she actually was talking to a nursing friend of hers, and a nursing friend said to her, look, the 50s are okay. It's when you get to the 60s, that's when you start to notice it more. And so she said that she started to notice that breakdown for her in her late 60s. And again, it was her knees that were causing her problems. She's just recently had knee replacement surgery. And so she's still been doing exercises, and they are her rehab exercises so that she fully recovers. But what she did was she worked out all the way up to that, so that she had a really good recovery because she was fitter and healthier. And she has said that she is stronger in now being 70 than what she was earlier. But I'm just going to look this up. She says, what can happen is that when we experience some type of lull, like our post-surgery recovery, or simply something like procrastination, you tend to lose what you had very quickly. And so it's always important that we continue to work out so that we stay fitter and stronger. So Sal, let's talk to you now. So what stage do you want to talk about? Because I know that you've been a little like me and a little like all the other women's, we go through these different stages. So we have these different experiences that we acknowledge, and that what happens is we start to do something. So tell me about what that is for you.
So for me, I think the funny thing was, you hear everyone say, oh, it's going to hit you when you hit 40.
Yes.
And no word of a lie, it was like my 40th birthday, and I was squinting, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, it's coming. And I think it's probably been maybe 49 and a half, 50. Peter, you know what I've been going through over the past whatever. But that, for me, I think, it's menopause coming in. So I've been noticing my knees are getting sorer.
Yeah.
And going up and downstairs. This is a big thing for me because we've got stairs in the house. Going up and downstairs, that fear was creeping in. Struggling to get up and down off the floor. That's been a big thing that I've noticed as well. And you know, it can be scary, and it can be, oh well, it's coming, so that's the end of it. And I'm just going to roll with it, and it's okay, and it doesn't matter. But it does matter, you know, because there are certain things that are happening now that, you know, bringing the groceries in, for instance, you know, I'm now asking the kids, can you help me bring the groceries in? Well, no, I need to do that. But the other thing, you know, and, you know, I've been working on different changes and that sort of thing as I'm noticing these things come in. And the stairs, for instance, you know, I'm going up and down the stairs without holding on now, because that's one of the things that I noticed. I've never, ever held onto the handrail going up and down the stairs, but that was one of the things I noticed, and I've stopped myself doing it. And I think there's two categories of people, and I've always believed this, and this is from personal experience. Those people that accept it and just wait, and those people that don't accept it and get out there and do something about it.
Yeah. It's interesting, Sal, because we can have those little things happening. So, you know, we might go to pick up a bag off the ground, for example, you know, a handbag might be sitting on the ground, and we go to pick it up and we notice that there's that little twinge, for example, in our back. And then we go, oh, okay. But we can tend to ignore it. We'll notice it at the time. We won't think anything of it because it's not happening all the time. But then all of a sudden, it starts to happen all the time, or more frequently. And it's at that point, as you said, you can either accept that this is part of this aging process that we're all going to go through. We're not going to avoid it. How we age is totally a choice for us, though. You know, we can do our best to push back at it. But what we can do is make some, you know, slight changes so that we can handle it a lot better. You know, and look, the women in our community are just a total inspiration. You know, some are in their 40s, some are 50, some are 60, some are 70, some are 80. And they just get in there and they do the strength work. They do the endurance work. They do the flexibility and the mobility and the balance work. So they do all those foundational things that are going to have a massive impact on whether we can live out our days independently or whether we're going to need assistance when things progress as life goes on.
And we know from some of our clients, Peter, like you've just mentioned, Mickey, Elise, I'd like to mention Glenn. You know, she has gone through major stuff over the past 2-3 years. And they all say to us, if they had not have been strength training and doing the Fit Flex workouts, they do not think that they would have healed the way they've healed, or healed as quicker.
Yes.
As quick as they've healed. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I think what can happen is the minute that we really start to notice it, acknowledge it, and take some form of action at that point. Like the action doesn't need to be a big action. You know, so if you're picking up the bag and you're feeling niggles in your back, then do some back stretches, something simple. Or maybe it's your core is starting to become weaker. So maybe what you need to do is actually find out how to engage your core a little better. I mean, and it's such a simple process to do that, Sal. All we need to do is draw our belly button through to our spine, And, you know, just really make sure that we're lifting our chest up so that we've got plenty of space for our organs. What that's going to do is make us and help us stand up a little taller, and it's going to start to actually use those core muscles, which, you know, wrap around the whole body. We can often think that they are, you know, just abs. They're not just abs. So it's virtually that whole torso that we're talking about here. I love how Jill progressed though, because she shared her progression. So it was at 51, she noticed her hair thinning. And I went, oh my goodness, that was an interesting one. And then she started to notice the achy joints. Then she hit, you know, menopause in her mid-50s, and she got the tiredness like I did. So she was saying that she couldn't drag herself up the stairs after work each day because she was so tired. But then at 56, it was the back pain for her. So, and that was all to do with, you know, strengthening those core muscles. That was what was really, really important for her. So the back pain, you know, really threw her into a bit of a tailspin. But, you know, now in her 60s, she's stronger, she's fitter, and she's more focused. She's really, really focused on, you know,
yes,
having good health and keeping her strength and her fitness. So shout out, Jill. You're amazing.
Absolutely. And it's funny because we have these clients, like I remember Jill, you know, 5-6 years ago, and she had issues with her right knee. Now, she's a golfer, Jill. She had issues with her right knee, so we were very protective of her knee and those sort of things. And now you say to her, you sort of say, Jill, is your knee okay when we're doing whatever session we're doing? Oh, yeah, there's no issues with my knee now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's those things that you can take back control of. That knee pain, you can take back control of that with strength training.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, with knee pain, generally as a rule, it's coming from weak glutes, hip mobility isn't as good as what it could be, or ankle mobility. And I know for Jill, when we were doing the special mobility sessions, you know, she made sure that she turned up to that every single week. She was very, very aware that the knee needed to stay fairly stable, and that she needed to focus on these mobility joints and those muscles that supported them. So, yeah, excellent stuff. But if you look at any of the stories that we've just shared, whether it be yourself, myself, you know, Mickey, Elise, Glenn, or Jill, there are two components to this. It's the when and the what. Okay. And so this is where this awareness piece, this acknowledgement of what we're feeling and experiencing is such an important thing. It's like, when is it happening? Like, what stage of life am I? You know, what age am I? You know, is it something to do with the stage that I'm going through? Look, and it's all to do with the impact of aging. Now, there is that very, very small percentage of people that will, you know, go through it unscathed and they won't get a single solitary ache or pain, but they're very few and far between. And so we all get to, well, most of us get to experience this decline in some way. We like to call it the slippery slope, right? And so what we want to do is we want to avoid getting on that slippery slope. So, you know, it's really important that what we do is, when you notice it, you acknowledge that life is changing for you. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. Now, I got heaps of friends that I've got to say that don't even like say their age. They call it the F word. So when they've got to 40s, it's the F word. it's the double F word when they've got to their 50s. I have no idea what they're going to be like when they get to their 60s. But, it's like, no, we're still young. And I've gone, yeah, but that's in our mind and that's how we act. And that's who we are. We don't think we're that age. And that is fantastic. Like, I love that. So I don't think I'm in my 60s at all. I think I'm still, a groovy little teenager bopping it out. And if you looked at my social media last week, you would have seen me being crazy to Boogie Wonderland, dancing around. And that is a great thing. Attitude is such an important aspect of it. But simply acknowledging that underlying we are all aging, and it is part of the process that we're going through. So I think it's important that we notice the shifts, those shifts in what's happening, what we're feeling, what we're experiencing. And then the other aspect of is how long has it been ongoing for? Because if it's been ongoing for some time and you're noticing it, you're probably finding that it is getting worse for you. So now's the time to go, okay, I need to do something.
And I think too, sometimes we can acknowledge and flick it away. So if it's something that's you're starting to notice happening more, pull out a notebook, write it down.
Look, I'm a fan of notebooks. I always have notebooks. I got notebooks everywhere type of thing. So I've probably got about 5 on my desk. They're all for different things. So, but if we break it down to this what and why or when type stuff, it's like, what are these differences? And let's get specific about them. I really think honing in on what can't we do is probably the easiest thing to identify, because sometimes when you get asked what can you do, that's harder than what can't you do. So just going, well, what are the things that I can't do that are different now? So it could be, as you said, Sal, you used to carry, 3 lots of grocery bags in one hand and 2 lots in the other, so you could handle the unevenness of carrying groceries. And then what you've done now is you're going 1 and 1. So that's a big difference, and it's quite specific that you can say, okay, I now know that I have lost that strength. So if I'm now gone from carrying 5 grocery bags in one load to 2 grocery bags in one load, what if I imagine myself in 10 years or 20 years? How am I going to ever be carrying those grocery bags in?
Yeah. Another one is washing. Sorry, Peter, I was just going to add, I'm thinking about the washing basket. Have you opted for a washing trolley? Is that how you're getting your basket outside?
Yeah, I like that. One of the things, Sal, that popped into my head as you said that was I was carrying out my washing basket just yesterday. But what I do is I don't hold it close to my body. I hold it out, and that's where I actually do a little bit of core work with it. So I use my muscles a bit more. So I'm actually drawing in as I'm walking outside, and I'm holding that basket. So there are so many little things that we can do in everyday life that can help us improve, that strength or that fitness that we might be noticing. So another example would be gardening. Getting up and down to do the gardening, has that changed? Yeah, has that changed for you? Is it different? Are you now having to put, some type of pad under your knees, and you never used to do that. And
is it now a seat?
Yeah,
That you're
exactly.
sitting on?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are you standing? Sometimes when I'm around walking, I might see people gardening, and they're standing with their legs, wide and straight and bending over from the hips type thing, because they can't even bend their knees or can't even squat down.
Yeah. Look, there's so many foundational things there, isn't it? Really, the lowering, the standing, the twisting, the turning, the reaching. So all of those things are so important to us as we're aging. And it could simply be that you can no longer open a can without a particular piece of equipment in the kitchen to do so. So there could be lots and lots of things. You could be now using two hands with your saucepans rather than one hand. Look, the list goes on and on and on. And so, ladies, if you're listening right now, I want, and any of this is resonating to you, I want you to get that, that paper and pen out and start writing it down, while it's fresh in your head. So here's the things that you need to know. The number one thing is that you're not alone. We're all going to go through the aging process. That's the number one thing. The second thing is that you need to acknowledge what you can and what you can't do and how it's impacting your life. So as Sel said, get the journal out, start writing it down, and let's be real with ourselves. Acknowledge that we are aging. Simple stuff. And the final thing, the number one thing that you can do to impact and counterbalance this aging process is to move more and to exercise. So it is a fundamental thing in life, is that, and we all know it, that saying that says, move it or lose it. We all know it. We all want to do it. But today, I would say to you, let's just get up and start doing something. Something is better than nothing. So if you think about, exercise and moving more, what does it impact? It's going to impact your heart. It's going to impact your lungs. It's going to impact like your mood, your bones, your muscles. Sal, you got anything else for me on top of that?
Your energy, your attitude, your confidence.
Beautiful. You're going to be healthier for longer. You're helping the aging process. What I really love is that it actually, and I had a look at some research around this, it delays up to 40 chronic illnesses. That's massive. 40.
Huge.
Huge. Massive.
Yeah.
It also
and can I just sorry, Peter, can I just add in there too with that chronic illnesses? If you do even have some of those chronic illnesses, we know they can be reversed. We have seen clients come off their blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
We have seen clients switch their diabetes, if they're on that exercise and eating healthy, diabetes, that's been switched, cholesterol, those sort of things. So we have seen that happen. Yeah.
It also helps with that cognitive decline as well. So if you think about, particularly when you're exercising, if you're focused, which you should be, on moving correctly so that you don't injure yourself, then what's going to happen with that is you've got that mind to muscle connection that we often talk about. And so it's going to help with that cognitive aspect, which is fantastic. The other thing that it's also going to help is reduce the risk of falls, because let's face it, you've got to be able to move quite quickly if you're feeling yourself go off balance. So if you can catch yourself, if you've got that strength and that flexibility in your body, then you're not going to fall. And so therefore you just, you know, you're not going to end up in hospital with broken hips or shoulders or whatever it happens to be. And ultimately,
and can I just add something on to, sorry, I'll just add something onto that. The next step would be then, if you did fall, you can get up, because you've got the strength to get up yourself, you know.
Exactly.
I was talking to a lady the other day, and she had a fall, and she had to ring somebody to come and help her get up. Now, this lady is not old,
no,
you know. But yeah, so that's the add-on benefit of preventing falls. If you do fall, you'll be able to get up.
Yes. And you know, just ultimately it helps you live longer. I mean, there are just so many benefits of exercise. So I would say at this point, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, okay, I'm aware of it, I'm acknowledging it, here's the things that I'm noticing, but I have no idea how to start, I'm going to put a link up. Just reach out to Sal or I, and you know, we're happy to actually talk about where you're at right now, because I think it's really, really important to understand the baseline. So what is happening with you? Because if you do happen to have some types of ache or pain that's going on, and you know, you start exercising without taking that into consideration, you put yourself at risk. And that could be a deterrent for you right now. So it could be a roadblock, and you might not want to take that first step because you're scared to do so, because you don't want to get any worse than what you currently are. But when you're working with coaches who that's specifically what they do, like us here at Strong Healthy Women, and there are other places as well too, you know, what you can then do is you can learn how to improve. You can find where to start, and that's what's important. It's just starting. So let's wrap it up, Sel. Words of advice from you.
I'm going to get a little bit in your face.
I'll go for it.
With this.
Okay.
Make the choice. Make the choice. So often we hear people say, oh, I've got bad knees. Oh, my back's so sore. And they complain and complain and complain and complain and complain. But has anything been done? No. So make the choice. Are you going to accept it? Okay, well, this is how I feel because I really don't want to exercise, so I'm going to accept it, and I'm not going to complain to anybody because that's the choice I've made for me. Or are you going to go, okay, well, this is how I feel. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do something and I'm going to strength train, and that's the choice I'm going to make for me. So make a choice and stick to it.
Yeah. And, you know, if you were sitting there thinking about this right now, that choice could be what's stopping you is you don't know what to do. So you might be going, okay, yeah, look, I want to make this choice, Sal. I want to change it, but I just don't have a clue. And yeah, reach out. Yeah, exactly. But it's true. Just reach out. But yeah, it doesn't have, as I said, it doesn't have to be us, but you know, just reach out to someone, because, you know, I know that we all need to have support. We all need to have some level of accountability, because what happens is that life happens, it changes, you know, like we're talking about Elise earlier. She's had knee replacement. So, you know, she hasn't been able to do what she normally would do, but she's made the choice that she needed to have this operation done. But she also made the choice that she was going to be really diligent with the exercises that her physiotherapist was giving her, because she wanted to be able to recover and get back to being better than what she currently is. So I love that piece of advice. Make the choice. My final words are from my mother, and they are, I never imagined my life like this. So 12 months ago, she rang and couldn't move. So, she was just stuck. And what happened as a result of this is, we had to go to emergency department. She's moving around a lot better now, but, she's using an aid and all those types of things. But what it has meant is that she's really starting to get in her head and she's starting to think about it. And she said those words to me, I never imagined my life like this. And it made me think about it. If we ask that question of ourselves right now, I never imagined my life like this. Is it the way that we want it to be, or do we want it to be something different? And that's when we go to step 2, which is make the choice.
And can I just say, Peter, those words that your mother said, when I'm saying them in my head, and we often say things in our, read things same in our head or whatever, and those words can be said with sadness and regret, or with happiness and confidence and attitude. I've done this. I never imagined my life to be like this. And that's those words are very powerful.
I'm having a little chuckle to myself because my mum had her birthday party on Saturday, and so we were all there, and one of my sons was sitting next to me, and I said something or other, and he said, you're not 60. I said, no, mate, that was a couple of years back. Do you remember the birthday party? And I said, how old did you think I was? He said, for some reason, I thought you were still in your 50s. And I've gone, so he wasn't actually thinking about it. And I thought, well, you're already in your mid-40s, so that's going to be, do the calculations, near impossibility. And it was funny that my niece actually, she heard the conversation, she was sitting there next to us, and she said, you look amazing and you are amazing. And I said, oh, thanks, love. I really appreciate that. But it is so true. It's the choices that we make. It's the acknowledgement of what is happening to us and actually just doing something about it and having that positive attitude to move forward. Now, I'm not saying we're always happy or anything like that. We all go through the ups and downs and the roller coasters of life, but that is life. It's never going to be perfect. But let's just do what we can do to limit the impact of aging. Thanks for joining me.
That's okay, Peter, but I just wanted to say, I just want to say to so many people, just take that step, reach out, because there is someone who can help you. There is someone who will guide you. So just reach out. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed. None of that ever comes into play when you reach out to somebody. What comes into play is high five for reaching out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Sal. Yeah, definitely do the reach out. Thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome. I'm just sitting here waiting to be rained on.
Oh, I hope not. I've got washing on the line. All right, ladies, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you all next week. See you. Bye now.
Have a good day. Bye.